everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be seed starting sweet peppers. Now, I am not a fan of hot peppers or the tomatoes that we just planted, but I do love peppers. We're going to have a mix of bell peppers and some snack peppers, and I do have one packet of jalapeno peppers I will also be starting. So before we get started, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need some seed starting mix. I already have mine pre-moistened, and if you are mixing it, you want to go ahead and get some water in it. You don't want it to be oversaturated in water. You want to be able to give it a good squeeze. It'll hold its form and not have water droplets dripping out. You're going to need some kind of cell tray. I have this 40 count right here, and I also have some 6 cell counts as well. I'll be using these for jalapenos or ones that I might not need a lot of. Then you're also going to be needing your seeds. I have some from different places. I have M.I. Gardner, I have Burpee, I have some Baker Creek, I have some from Seed Swapping, and I also have bell peppers that I harvested the seeds myself from my farm share last year. I did have some good success with tomatoes, so fingers crossed peppers were also doing well as well. You're also going to want to go ahead and get some plant tags and a garden marker. So I already have all of mine labeled. I have also the date on it too. This way I know for next year how I did starting them so early. And that should be about it. You're going to need a mister as well to go ahead and set the seeds. And I also have my Vermiculite. So once you get those set, go ahead, lay everything out. I like to go ahead and put the plant marker right on top of the seed packet so that way I don't get things mixed up, and we're gonna get planting. All right, now a few things before we get started. Peppers, usually you wanna do that around the 6 to 8 week mark. I've also watched YouTube videos that said anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks is good. I am starting mine around the 8 to 10, maybe pushing the 11 week mark. That is because I really want to get a nice jump start on my seed starting, and that way I can have some larger plants to go ahead and put out in the garden once we are past any chance of frost. So definitely make sure you go ahead and check out when your last frost date is. Mine is actually a week earlier than it was last year. Last year it was around May 15th or 17th. This year it's around May 9th. Also, don't start too early if you don't have the space to go ahead and pot them up. I luckily have 3 sets of seed starting racks, so I have space, and I also will be putting them out in the greenhouse once we get that built come late April, maybe early May. So they'll have time to go ahead and get acclimated with the weather, and then I can have easier time harding them off, putting them back and forth outside, because I am actually doing all my seed starting on the 2nd floor in our master bedroom. And let me tell you, last year it was a whole process to lug everything outside and inside to harden off over the course of a week. Now, once you have all of your materials ready to go, just a few little things. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and cover your peppers in about a quarter of an inch of either soil or vermiculite. They do not need light to germinate, so you don't have to worry about putting them underneath the grow lights. They do need a nice warm base, so if you have a heat mat, that will be great. Again, set it anywhere from 75 to 80 degrees. And then once you see them peeking out and popping out through the soil or your vermiculite, you're gonna wanna go ahead and take them off of the heat mat. I am going to be using a 40 count tray, so I'll hopefully wait until we have about 50 to 75% germination before I go ahead and pop them off. The same thing goes for these smaller ones. If you see 50 to 75% germination, go ahead, take them off, and then get them underneath your grow lights. Now with peppers, you're going to need to go ahead and fertilize. I have some Fox Farm fertilizer, and I also use Neptune's Harvest as well. I believe it's the seaweed one. So I go ahead and start fertilizing them about once a week. I try and just remember to do it on the weekends since I'm a little bit less busy on those days. And you're gonna wait until they get their first set of true leaves. Now, once they germinate, those first set of leaves, those are technically not their first set of leaves. So if you want to count by the buds that are coming out, it's going to be the second set. So once you see those, you can go ahead and start fertilizing, but you do not want to go ahead and give it a full strength. So whatever it says on the back, you're going to give half the amount of fertilizer. So if it says 1 tablespoon, you're going to give a half a tablespoon. And that way it won't just shock and, be too strong for your seedlings. Also, peppers like to grow in pairs. So what I'm gonna be doing here is I'm gonna be putting at least 2 or 3 seeds per cell tray. I'll probably end up doing about 2, and then that way if both of them germinate, I'm just gonna let them be. I actually learned last year that peppers kind of like to hold hands, so to speak. So you wanna place them a little bit closer together. They do well when they are touching as they are maturing. So if you have 2 of them together, go ahead and leave it. Don't feel the need that you're gonna have to go ahead and separate them, but you might have to just go ahead and pot them up a little bit quicker. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill all of these with my seed starting mix, and then we're gonna go ahead and get planting. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with this cell right here. I'm gonna just go ahead and move some of my dirt out of the way. Now I really like this seed starting mix that you use. There might be a couple of extra larger pieces in it, but you can sift that out. So what I like to do is I just go ahead in and I pack them all up to the top, and then you're going to go ahead and lightly press. You want to get all of those air pockets out. Now you don't want to feel like you are forcing everything in here, but I do go through, and that way you can also see if you miss a piece. And just push it in, because you don't want this to collapse on your seeds once you get them started. So I just go through and dab them in, removing any of the larger pieces that I might have mixed. And like sometimes it will go pretty far down. So then I'm gonna go ahead back in here and fill it up once again. And then I'm gonna go ahead and lightly press them down as well. And then I will just go ahead and clear off the excess as I go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the 6 cell trays. I'm gonna wait and do that just in case. I'm not quite sure how many seeds I plan on planting, to be honest. I kind of am someone that just goes, off the seat of her pants. So, all right, I think this should be good. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and lightly top that. And then if you just see some pieces, I kind of like to just lightly do this next top layer, because I do need to be able to move my seeds in place. All right, once you have that set, you're gonna need a plan of attack, I like to say. I normally like to start at the top and I work my way down each row. And then every time I go ahead and switch up a seed, I will just go ahead and grab a plant tag. Again, I like to do these ahead of time because your fingers are gonna get all dirty, and then writing and everything just doesn't go well for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean my hands off to the side. All right. First, we're gonna go ahead and start with something that I'm going to be planting a lot of, and that is going to be my red bell peppers. Now, I harvested these from my farm share, and there's a lot of them. So I'm gonna probably put maybe 2, maybe 3 of them in here, just because since it is my first time harvesting them, I'm not sure how I did and how they're gonna germinate. So I'll probably go ahead and put 3 of these in. And then what I'll do is ones that I might got from like the garden store, or like M.I. Gardner or Baker Creek. I have more faith in those, and I'll probably only put 2 of them in. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so again, here is my plant tag. I personally like to start and go left to right as if I'm reading a book. And then I start here, I'm gonna go all the way down and then hop over to the next one. So again, I have a lot of these, and I'm hoping I did a decent job. And also because I am starting so early, if none of them tend to germinate, then I know, okay, maybe I didn't do a great job this time around, but I can just go to a box store and go ahead and grab more. What I also like to do is I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them, but I'm not gonna bury them right away. I want to be able to make sure that I didn't miss a cell. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna do 2. I like to do opposite corners, so I'll do the top left and the bottom right corner. And then I will go ahead and bury them afterwards, so that way I don't get confused as to which ones are full and which ones are not. So I love bell peppers, and I actually froze some from last year. So what I would do is I would cut them up, I would put them on a cookie sheet in the freezer, freeze them, and then what we would do is we would take a vacuum seal bag, I would put them in, and then I would freeze them just like that, and they're great for stir fries. We cook a lot with peppers, and we are a big stir fry family. So I have, let's see, I have about 10. I'm gonna do 3 rows of bell peppers. And again, if I have the luck and they all germinate, that is fantastic. I gave a lot of pepper seeds away last year. And what's nice about knowing that you harvested them is that you actually are gonna get what you harvested it from, because I'm not gonna lie, I did use some burpee seeds last year, and they said they were California giant like wonders or something. I don't know, they were supposed to be a big green bell pepper, and they were hot banana peppers. And I'm like, this is something I'm definitely not going to be using because I don't like anything hot and spicy. All right, so here we go. We got our farm share ones done. So I did 3 rows of that. Oops, and it looks like I had some stuck on my hand. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and put those there. Next, we are going to go ahead and do my sweet snacker peppers. These ones I got from seed swapping. So again, I plan on doing 2, possibly 3 garden beds of peppers. I also bought a lot of containers as well. So if I have extra, I do have space in the garden to go ahead and put some of those containers in. And another reason why I am starting these so early is that the ones that I would buy from, say, like Tractor Supply or Aubuchon's, I live again in Western Massachusetts, they were so much bigger than mine, and I got an earlier harvest from them. So I don't have the longest growing season. So I want to make sure that I can get in as many as I possibly can. All right, so we have our snacker peppers right there. All right, next up I have purple bell peppers. Now I'm only going to do 3 rows of those. I actually tried growing purple bell peppers last year, and I think I got 1. So again, this is kind of why I wanted to start a little bit earlier, hoping that I can have a bigger harvest. Now my other green and red bell peppers, now those were great. And I did lunchbox peppers. Oh my gosh, those were great producers. And I really wish that I saved seeds from them, but we actually just kept on eating them. All right, so I have about 6 plants there. And I figure, you know what, if they don't work, I have this lovely nursery literally 1 minute from my house. And we like to stop by there a lot. So if nothing turns out well here, we can just go ahead and buy some stars. All right, up next we have some orange kiss peppers. I'll probably just do 3 of those as well. And these are also going to be from seed swapping. All right. And I'm definitely going to make sure that I do a good job harvesting them this year if I do have some success. All right, so I'm going to do 3 of those. So if I'm lucky, I'll have 6 total plants. Okay. And then we are going to go ahead and do some more lunchbox peppers. So I have orange that I got from seed swapping. I have some, let's see, sweet pepper, and those ones are going to be from Burpee. And then I have a couple of other ones that I got from seed swapping as well. So we're just going to go ahead, fill these really quick, and then we'll of our pepper plants pretty much buried underneath. I did about 1/4 inch, just like a nice light dusting of it. I'm gonna go ahead and top it off with some vermiculite, and then we're gonna go ahead and just spray them in and then get them on the heat mat. I do have to do some rearranging on my heat mats because I have a handful of flowers and herbs that I'm just waiting. I have some lavender, I have my hot lips turtle head and my hydrangeas on there. And I think I have a little bit left of some rosemary I'm waiting to go ahead and pop up as well. I like to wait until there's about 50 to 75% germination, and then I go ahead and take them off. So I'm just going to go ahead and lightly dust these on. And then I'm going to move all of my tomatoes and peppers on my larger 4-foot long heat mat. So then that way they all can be at the same temperature. I'll probably put it anywhere around, I probably actually will do 75 degrees because even though it doesn't need light to germinate, I do have on that same shelf some of my cone flower that need the lights. So I am just gonna have the lights on, and with the lights on, it does actually get pretty warm. It'll bump up a few degrees. The heat probe will pick up. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish this off and get them going. Now, again, this is a lot of peppers. I wanna say they're 6 by 3 foot beds. I did 2 last year of peppers, and I planted the same. I have an extra bed right now because my husband and my daughter picked out for me for Christmas some garden towers. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and try putting my green bean bushes through those because we do have slugs, which is something that I need to tackle this year. So I'm gonna grow those there. So I have an extra bed now. I don't know if I'm gonna put tomatoes. I could do half tomatoes, half peppers. I might wanna put some flowers on there. So I'm not sure. I have one bed open right now. And it's probably gonna be a last minute thing. It just, I guess, depends on how many plants make it to the beginning and middle of May, and how much I want to go ahead and give away to friends and family. And I actually made all of my garden beds out of cedar pickets because cedar is not something that we can really get here. They have some of the, I want to say it was like 2x8s, which I use to make my trellises, but we can't really get cedar here. So I just went ahead on Home Depot and ordered a ton of picket fences, and I have some extra wood. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you later on how I made my garden beds out of cedar pickets. It's a little bit cheaper. Yes, it's not as thick as if you did like a 2-inch or a 2 by 4 by 8. But they're holding up well. And so I plan on doing that at some point. Maybe I'll gift it to a friend, because I don't know if I have really any more room. These are all now misted in. We're gonna go ahead and get them on top of the heat mat. All right, here is an update of what the heat mat looks like. So this is going to be my 4-foot long heat mat. Right here, I have all of my solo cups filled with tomato seeds. And then I have right here my peppers. Behind them, the reason why the lights are still on, I have my cone flowers over there. And I also have some more flowers growing as well. And I just wanted to go ahead and show you. Let's see if I can get the light to work. These are, here you go. These are my tomatoes. So those are growing. I'm gonna up pot those as well. So these are my stronger lights up here. I'm gonna go ahead and put all my tomatoes and peppers on this rack as soon as I have to move them. So that is my setup right now. All right, and that concludes today's video. So we just started a bunch of sweet peppers. I hope you found that helpful, especially if you are a beginner gardener and you're a little bit overwhelmed with the pepper varieties and how to get them started. Just know you might have to be a little bit patient, as they can take anywhere from 7 to 14 days to germinate. If you are doing something like hotter, I should say, than a jalapeno, they might take 2 or 3 weeks to go ahead and germinate. But for someone like me, I don't do hot and spicy. I'm just going to go ahead and do all of my sweet peppers. I plan on doing a video with a little bit of recapping and showing you how they are doing after a few weeks, especially when I go ahead and pot up my tomatoes and my peppers as well. I leave my peppers actually in these cell trays for a while before I go ahead and pot them up, just because I want to leave them in there until they're a little bit more mature, especially because they're a little bit slower to grow. And especially when you pot them up, you're going to have to go ahead and buy some more potting mix. So to save some time and water and money, I just let them sit in there until they might look a little bit stressed, and then I go ahead and move them on to the next stage. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you found this helpful, please go ahead and give a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you are starting some peppers, if you like sweet or spicy, and how many years have you been going ahead and gardening? This is, again, my second year. My name is Kristy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, which is Zone 6A. Again, I am starting these a little bit early, but I hope that way, if I am starting them early, if you are going to go ahead and do around that 8-week mark, this will be helpful for you. And if you are in a warmer climate, then maybe you are also able to go ahead and get your seeds started. Again, thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye.